Right, drink. Make sure everyone knows it's mine because I'm always right. I'm always right. Welcome to Throughout Thursdays. Today we're going to talk about why Toyota doesn't use turbochargers on their regular A to B vehicles. Okay, let's do apples to apples, or apples to oranges. Whatever fruits you like. Mangoes and pears, pears and pears, I don't know. Let's talk about how the Honda Accord 2.0 liter turbocharger technically gets worse gas mileage than the 3.5 liter V6 of the Toyota Camry TRD. Doesn't have to be a TRD, but if you're gonna buy the V6, you might as well buy a TRD. It's the best vehicle to buy. So, they both supposedly get 30 some miles per gallon on the highway and about 25 in the average. Great, fantastic. Now, why would Honda use a turbo? Well, technically, Honda says it'll get you better gas mileage overall. But does it? So here's the thing. So, if you have a turbocharger, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm saving engine displacement and weight, so obviously I'm saving fuel. Well, not really. So here's how it works. When a turbocharger needs more fuel, it has to maintain a proper air-to-fuel ratio of 14.7 to 1. Boring, I know, but important. So, 14.7 to 1 means that for every 14.7 molecules of air, you need 1 molecule of fuel to make a proper burn and not a bang or a ping. Explosions are bad. Very bad. No explosions. A burn means that your piston will move down just how it's supposed to as it goes down and go back up and repeat the cycle. That's perfect, but it doesn't always work that way. The problem with the turbo is it depends on the spooling of the turbo. So if the engine says I need this much air, it can't just receive that much air as it accelerates. It has to wait for the turbo to do so. So it has to make a choice. Because it has to maintain a perfect fuel to air ratio and prevent a ping, and because to do so it has to have a lower compression ratio, which isn't as efficient, it has to choose. Should I possibly have a ping or just add more fuel? I think he's going to add more fuel so it doesn't blow itself up. Now Toyota's approach is let's maintain a linear structure, and as much air it comes in, we put that much fuel in and we burn it. As long as it knows the amount of air that's coming in, it can do it. And as you accelerate, that amount of air is continuous and linear. 1,000 RPMs all the way up to 6,000 RPMs, it's a linear flow. Turbochargers don't completely work that way because it's variable. As you accelerate, the turbo will sometimes spool up faster or will spool down slower than other times. And also if you're in a lower gear and you accelerate and you're not downshifting like you would in a manual, or if you're an automatic, the automatic takes some time to downshift because, you know, automatics are perfect. I'm not really a fan of automatics. We know this. Then you're going to have to use more fuel because you're lugging the engine. And lugging means you hit the gas and you go, but the turbo's not spooling and there's not enough air in there, but if it's all open, everything's ready to go, so the engine's trying hard to get as much power that it can't deliver. And eventually you'll downshift, and then you'll have more power, but you still gotta wait for that turbo to spool up. That's why turbochargers aren't perfect. That's also why they generally have a lower compression, to save the engine. Now with the 3.5 liter V6 of the Toyota Camry, you don't have to worry about that. They designed it to be awesome. It's just that simple. They also do it for reliability. A turbocharger, you know, it's gonna put some stress and some heat on the engine. Where a naturally aspirated engine, if you make it really strong, there's less stress. Let's take the modern A to B vehicle of today, the wannabe SUV, and let's compare it to a real SUV of 13 years ago. I know it's not a complete apples to apples, or in this case more like a watermelon to a cherry, but let's take the 2018 Hyundai Tucson and the 2007 Toyota Trailblazer LT. They're very different vehicles, but in a sense, they're supposed to do the same thing. Now, the Toyota Trailblazer LT averages about 18 miles a gallon, and the Hyundai Tucson averages about 23.5. You're saying, how is this a good comparison? I'll tell you why. Because in the wintertime, because the Hyundai Tucson is meant to be a everyday vehicle, it has to push itself. And when it pushes itself, it's adding more fuel. And it really only averaged 19. That's terrible. For the Trailblazer, it averaged 18. Whether it was wintertime, summertime, it did 18 because it's naturally aspirated. It's not pushing, it's not trying harder, it's just doing what it does. It's a lazy, low revving, big engine and does exactly what it's supposed to do. Go off-road and haul things. Well, you can't expect a wannabe SUV with turbocharged engine, which is supposed to be sporty, but isn't, to want to go off-road and go in the snow and just tackle through it without making it work more. But if you made that same engine naturally aspirated, maybe a little bigger than 1.6 liters, like 2.5 liters, what makes a 2.5 liter SUV? Oh yeah, Toyota. And no, it doesn't get over 200 horsepower. It's only getting about 170, which is fine. It doesn't need more. It does the job just fine. Its job isn't to be sporty. Its job is to be an SUV. And it does it just fantastically. And if it was meant to be sporty, it'd be a sports car. Or a Camry, because new Camrys are awesome, you know. And that's my point. If it would have been a 2.5 liter inline 4 from the Toyota, which really will average actually 25 miles a gallon, then it would have done better. Because it's not pushing itself just to get more power. It's just revving itself away. So, oh, it's snowing. Oh, I gotta work a little harder. Well, instead of revving at 3,000 RPM, I'll go to 4,500 RPM. Would you get a little bit less gas mileage? Of course, you're revving at 4,500 RPM. But would it be as bad as the Hyundai Tucson at 19? No. You'd probably get more around 22 or 23 or 23.5 just like the Tucson's getting. And that's the point. The point is that if you're in a normal vehicle, it doesn't make sense to do that. And if you're to price match vehicles, just like I did with the Camry and the Accord, then in reality, you could get yourself a Toyota RAV4 hybrid. And that gets 35 miles a gallon. And has more power than the Hyundai Tucson. Or a Mazda. Yeah. Or even a Honda CR-V. So, let's take a comparison at different vehicles using fueleconomy.gov. While it's not a perfect website, you can use it to upload your information about your vehicle on it, which helps other consumers out. And I like to use it for old cars. New cars not so good for because no one puts anything on there. But old cars, it's helpful. Okay, so this is fueleconomy.gov. If you go to this website, you can compare vehicles, and I've compared 4 of them here for you. And these are all the upscale, in the 30,000 price range models. So if you look across here, you have all what the EPA says, and down here you have what people can individually put. Fortunately, no one's put for the Camry, and the reason I'm using the 2019 is because I want to compare it to the closest 1.6 liter Sonata I could find with the turbo. Got a 3.5 liter Camry, which gets 26. The 2 liter turbo Accord getting 26. Seems like they're both around the same on the highway. And I got the Mazda 2.5 liter turbo for the Mazda 6. See, 26 miles a gallon. And Mazda's actually really good at their turbos, but if you look down here, look what they say. And not so good. Same with this. This 31 combined, 25.9. Yeah, not so good. And I do have a friend that owns a 3.5 liter V6 Camry, and he actually says averaging he's quite close around to here. Sometimes he gets closer in the 26.7s, but yeah, this is kind of where you're at. So it's a pretty cool website. Look, you can compare all these sweet cars, and then if you want to compare boring things, I got the SUV here. So over here I got a Honda CR-V, the turbo, 1.5 liter, and you think, oh, 1.5 liter, those are great gas mileage. Well, someone says only gets 27.6. Not so great. And I have the Tucson. I have the 2008 Tucson. That's the year that Erica has hers. So I put that right there. And yeah, not so good. Not great. But in reality, it's 23.5. So yes. And then over here I got the RAV4, which is the 2.5 liter, which does get 29. So it gets the best, almost the best gas mileage out of all these. And if you price match these across the board, this is pretty cool. Watch this. So if you price match all in like the $30,000 range, right? And I found this insane. So we'll do the newest 2021. So you can get the RAV4 hybrid. And it gets 40 miles a gallon. And this is pretty much all across the board. If you want the Android Auto and all those fancy features, this is what it costs. That is insane. I mean, this is why turbos don't really work. And someone down here put 31.4. So that's probably more accurate average of what it really gets. It's more of what they actually are getting out of the vehicle. So it's a great website. I mean, especially if you're getting an older car. Let's say you wanted to look at my car, or Vinny's car. So down here, a few people put in there based on 5 vehicles. So 5 people put in there, and the average is 30.1, which is about right. That's pretty much spot on, because we actually did put it in for ours. We put ours in there, and that's what we put, because that's about right. You put for the city, it's more like 27. They have 20 for the city. That's not really correct. I don't know what city driving they're doing. So you got people here who said they get 16.5 average. And that's off of 6 vehicles with the Trailblazer. We average 18, but again, we do different driving than other people. But yeah, that's kind of cool. People just put what they want up there. Really nice, super cool. Love it. Turbochargers don't work, do they? Wrong. Turbochargers work great for sports cars because they're more power and less weight. More power, less weight, equals more fun. That's what you need to do. You need to have yourself a balance of what you want. Obviously, sports cars are not supposed to get great gas mileage. So why not make it so you have a vehicle with an engine that belongs in it? Not a sports car engine in a Honda Tucson. It's just it's just silly. It's not sporty. It's heavy. It's tall. Doesn't even go off-road. It's a thing. I don't know why they call them CUVs. It's just stupid. I don't even understand that. And you're saying, well, what about diesels? Well, diesels do need turbochargers because diesels are really high compression. And high compression, because they don't use a spark plug, there's no reason not to use a turbocharger. And when you enter diesel, they're not high revving either. The turbochargers in diesel are meant to rev at low RPMs. And they're heavy. Diesels are not lightweight. They're heavy. So you might as well put a turbocharger on it to save some weight. But it doesn't work in a modern gasoline engine. It just doesn't. That's why I think of turbochargers. I think that they should just be used for sports cars and diesels. Makes sense in a diesel. You need that power. Diesels are expensive and heavy anyways. So might as well. And you know, they're efficient. High compression turbochargers make sense. Low compression turbochargers don't. I'm Shane. Disman Throughout Thursdays. Keep shifting, Derry. Yeah. Oh, my mic's still on for once this time. There you go. Yeah.